Welcome everybody to another edition of Inside Guns with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. If you watched my video yesterday, you know I did a little segment in the middle about buying guns as an investment. And if you didn't see that and you want to see it to go with what I'm going to talk about today, because I'm going to expand on that, if you want to see that, I'll put that as a standalone video later this evening so that you don't have to fish through the whole episode from yesterday. But today, like I said, I want to expand on that video because in that section, I talked about buying guns as an investment. Are you going to make money from guns buying them under normal circumstances? But today I want to talk about buying guns for other circumstances, like maybe just using them as a savings account, because I mentioned that buying a gun isn't like investing, it's more like just shoving it under your mattress. So I want to talk about some of the aspects of that. And I want to talk about buying guns for shit hit the fan, the apocalypse. You know what I'm talking about, when the zombies come or when the banks fall. You know, one of those things. So I want to get into those topics a little bit today. First, I want to talk about some of the aspects of buying guns just as a way to save money. You know, it's a way to have a hobby that you get to enjoy, but you don't really spend a lot of money because when you buy a gun, you can resell that gun. The money's still kind of there. You might lose a little percentage of it, usually not much, and you can just chalk that up to, well, if I'd have rented that gun, like sometimes I'll say to myself, I'll lose $50 on a gun when I sell it, or maybe $100. I'll be like, well, I just rented that gun for 3 months for $50. Doesn't sound so bad that way. But let's talk about some of the aspects if you're going to buy a gun, like I say, just to enjoy your hobby and still have money stocked away in case you need it. Some people see that as a good way to put money aside. But I get questions from people about that aspect because I got some questions in the comment section of the video yesterday. One of the questions was about, well, is it better for me to spend, if I have $3,000, for example, this was the base of their question. Is it better for me to buy 3 $1,000 guns or 1 $3,000 gun? Well, since I say we're not really buying them as an investment for the price to go up, it doesn't really matter. As long as the guns are good quality, if you buy 3 $1,000 1911s or 1 $3,000 1911s, in both situations there, you basically still have the same amount of money invested. You still have your initial investment. But there's a good reason why you should basically always go with 3 over 1 in these types of scenarios. Let's say you're putting money away. You've had $3,000 to spend, like in this scenario. You buy 1 $3,000 1911 or you buy 3 $1,000 1911s. Now your car goes out on you. Something happens. You need $600 immediately to fix it. Well, if you've got 3 $1,000 guns, you can sell 1 gun. And now you've got $1,000 cash and you still got $2,000 worth of guns. So you still have the ability to defend yourself and enjoy your hobby, but you can also pay for your car, have a little cash left over. If you've only got 1 $3,000 gun, you have to sell the $3,000 gun. Now, if you're lucky and you sell it for the full amount of its value, $3,000, well, you got the money to fix your car and money left over, lots of money left over, but temporarily, if those were the only guns you owned, got no gun, no way to enjoy your hobby or defend yourself if it's a situation where you might find yourself in need of self-defense. So in that case, it's much better to have the 3 guns, not just 1. Now, let's talk about if you had to take a loss on those guns. Imagine the market's down a little bit. So in this situation, you still have to sell something to pay to fix your car. In the situation where you sell 1 gun for $1,000, let's say you take a 20% loss because the market's down. Well, you're down $200. You still have $800. You can still fix your car, have a little money left over for ammo. If you have to sell your 1 main gun and you take a 20% loss on that 1 $3,000 gun, well, now you've tripled your losses because you've lost $600 instead of $200. So your $3,000 investment is down to $2,400 in this case instead of $2,800 in the case where you have 3 guns. That's not good. Especially when you consider you still got to pay for the car. You got to take out the $600 to fix your car. That leaves you on the one side that had 3 guns with still having 2 guns and $200 left over. Like I said, buy you some ammo, whatever. But on the side where you only had one gun, now you're down to $1,800 and no guns. And that $1,800 isn't enough to buy back even two $1,000 guns, much less your $3,000 gun. So you're basically left with probably one gun and some cash left over, if you want to stick to that $1,000 level. So that really doesn't work out when you look at it that way. That's why I think it's always better to have three $1,000 guns than one $3,000 gun, especially if you got to take a loss. If you're forced to sell during a down period, you don't want to have to take a loss on your entire investment. You want to just have to take a loss on as much of it as you absolutely have to. So, like I said, three guns, definitely better than one, even when it just comes to the cash value, not performance or anything. So that's pretty self-explanatory, I think. But then there's another thing you also have to think about. If you're looking at your guns as an investment, a way to keep your money where you need it, imagine you have a kaboom, some bad ammo, something happens, bam, one of your guns goes up in smoke. Well, if you've got three guns, you still got two left. You've lost a third of your investment, but you still got 2,000 of your investment there, and you still have guns to defend yourself and plink with or play with, whatever you want to do. In the case of the one gun, if you have a kaboom, your entire investment's gone in one puff of smoke. You don't want to put yourself in that situation. That's called putting your eggs all in one basket. And when we're considering the financial side of this, maybe it's like I said, like savings accounts, you don't want to do that. So there's another reason right there. The three guns would be better than the one. All right, one last thing we have to look at as far as an investment, a regular, ordinary investment is concerned, is what happens if you actually have to liquidate. You need that $3,000 in cash. You need to do something with your home, you want to take a vacation, whatever it is, but you need to get that $3,000 back fully. Well, in this case, you might say, well, it'd be easier to sell one gun that's worth $3,000 than it is to have to sell three guns. But it's actually the opposite, because here's why. If you've got to sell three $1,000 guns, you just got to find three different buyers that have $1,000 and want a decent gun. If you have to sell that $3,000 gun, you have to find that very rare one buyer who understands paying for quality and has $3,000 they're willing to spend. That's way harder to do. It's much easier to turn three guns into three $1,000 piles than it is to turn one superior gun into one $3,000 pile. So even there, if you have to liquidate completely, it's better to have three guns than just one. But now let's move on to what if it's actually the apocalypse. That's the other thing I wanted to talk about here. Society collapses. There's severe national disasters, something along those lines. Well, then all these guns become priceless. But here's the thing. In the stack of three guns, you have three priceless items. Where you just have the one gun, that's one priceless item. So you are basically wealthy with one gun in that situation, but you're super wealthy with three guns. Because if you had to, if you were unprepared, you needed food, you needed ammo, water, whatever, you have guns to barter with. You could actually trade guns for quite a bit in that situation. Because if there's someone who has food and water and shelter, but doesn't have any way to defend themselves, especially when the zombies come, well, then you're going to be able to either work a deal with them where you come stay with them and provide them with a gun too, and they let you eat there, etc. You're either going to be trade directly for goods, or you're going to be able to set up some sort of arrangement where you help them and provide them means to help themselves, etc. Because you got extras, and you can still be protected even after you've traded for a lot of things. So that's a very good thing. If you have one gun, you don't have those options. Now, I know this is where a lot of people are going to say, never trade guns in the apocalypse or bad times or when shit hits the fan, because then you're arming other people that'll turn around and use it on you. I hate to break it to you. In a bad long-term situation, you better make some allies. You better form some alliances, because the man with no friends isn't going to live long. That's a fallacy. That whole individual survivalist crap that some Americans like to believe, it's garbage. So you're going to want to make allies, trust me. So like I said, if you have multiple guns, you got more options. But here's another thing that you have, another big advantage you have with the three guns over the one gun. Well, if you do have food, let's say you didn't have to trade for anything, you've got everything you need, or you want to consolidate with another group, and help each other, because together you have everything you need. If you've only got one $3,000 gun, it might be a very nice gun, but you're arming one person at a time. If you've got 3 guns, you can arm yourself, and then you can arm 2 allies, friends, family, people you form an alliance with, whatever. And if you have like 5 or 6 people, you can have 2 shifts or 3 shifts of 2 people armed, one person who's always armed doing something else. There's just a lot more variety if you've got 3 guns. You can have more of a defense force with 3 people armed than 1. So even in the apocalypse or shit hits a fan, whatever, 3 $1,000 guns is far better than 1 $3,000 gun. So I think that's actually going to be the case most of the time. If you're just looking at it as a way to put money aside and possibly invest a little money, I think it's better to diversify, get the 3 guns. And as far as shit hitting the fan and things going bad, well, in those situations, that's a time where I'm going to have to say that quantity is actually far more important than quality. All right, everybody, with that all being said, I want to move on and answer a question I was asked by a viewer in my live chat the other day. I donate quite a bit of money to other gun channels. In fact, every month, about a third of my Patreon money goes right back out to other gun channels. And someone in the live chat asked me, why do you do that? Because I know you support some gun channels that you don't like, that you've even had beef with. So why do you continue to do that? Why should I support them? Well, first off, you are supporting them, because if you give money to my channel, it kind of goes right back out to some other channels. I give anywhere between $5 a month and some channels $100 a month. The ones that I think are really important to the gun community. Those are the ones that get the $100. But I do it because I think as many pro voices out there as we can have for guns is important. Even if I don't like what someone does, or I think they're sometimes damaging to the gun community, or they distract people from the real fights, I still think having the voices out there is important. And I also believe no one is beyond redemption. Everybody can change. And when I speak out against a gun channel, I'm not saying that person should disappear. You never hear me say that. You never hear me say, don't watch this person, because I don't believe in that. What I say is, I hope they do better. I hope they do different. I just try to encourage them to do something other than what I'm calling out as bad behavior. And I believe every channel can do that. And I believe even bad channels do at least 51% good stuff, simply because they bring new people into the gun community. I might dislike someone. I might think they're a sellout. I think they may protect the interest of businesses, and they may all be in it for just the money. Just that's all they care about is the money, and they're actually an elitist that doesn't even like you owning guns. But as long as they don't say that on camera and they bring more people into the community, good. I'll support them on Patreon. Support a lot of people that I've had beef with on Patreon, and I will continue to do so. And I encourage you to continue to do so, because here's the thing. All these voices are important. At least choose 1 or 2 voices you want to support, because, like I say, YouTube doesn't really pay us a lot of money. Now, a lot of channels make money off their endorsements and selling products, etc. But, if you feel like you want to kick them a little tip for doing a good job selling that stuff, let them. Now, there are some channels I won't support at all on Patreon or in any way, because I think they do more damage than anything else through their fear-mongering and their profiteers. So those people I don't support at all. But like I said, the channels that I think can still do good or still do some good, but I hope they do more in the future, those ones I continue to support, and I will continue to support as long as you all are supporting me. All right, everybody, I want to end the show today with our pet rescue of the day. And today we have Shiny, who was rescued by Larry D. Now, today is going to be a little different because Shiny is no longer with us. Shiny has passed away. Shiny lived a long life in their home. They adopted him, I believe, at like 2 years old. And the way they talk about Shiny in their email is why I want to show him today. Because they say they don't have children. But they were so surprised when Shiny passed away, how much it affected them. He says it actually tore him up more than when his father died. And that's what I want to talk about today. People don't understand how important animals can be and how much love they give you. They mean so much. A lot of people actually will shy away though because they'll say, "Oh, but you have to bury them. It's sad. It's God's cruel joke on man that dogs only live 15 years and we live 75, 85. Means we have to bury a lot of friends." But the very fact that it bothers us that much when we do it tells you how important those relationships are. And if you've never known that in your life, you should know it. So don't be afraid to adopt a pet just because I'll have to put it down someday. Because the very fact that that'll bother you so much means that those years together were worth it. Even if you want to adopt a pet that's 12 years old, 13, 14, 15 years old, knowing that they're going to live another year or two probably. Don't think of it as, oh, eventually they'll pass and I'm going to have to go through that. Think of the wonderful times you'll have for that year, even if it's just the thought of knowing that you gave them love and care in the final years of their life and they can pass away happy. So don't let fear of sadness keep you from experiencing one of the greatest things you could ever experience, and that is the love of a pet. So go out there, adopt. Don't worry about what will happen in the future. Just enjoy the time that you have with them, like Larry did with Shiny. All right, everybody, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you come back again on Monday. Until then, I just want to sign off as usual by saying, as far as the state of the world today is concerned, it is what it is. It could definitely be a lot worse, but it could be better. And if we continue to ignore the fear-mongers, the profiteers, the people that are out to further their own selfish interests under the guise of helping the Second Amendment community, if we start to single those people out and not give them the credibility that we have been giving them, what things will be in the very near future for those that love the Second Amendment and freedom in general is better.